So today I'm going to show you 3 alternate tunings that will make your Telecaster sound massive. I'm going to show you how they work, where they shine, and when to use them. So let's start with the first one. This is drop C sharp. Let's go. This one in my bones. This was drop C sharp. Really felt that one. And before we get into this and 2 other tunings, quick plug here. If you want to get into my style of playing, my style of soloing, my melodic soloing guitar course is off 30% right now. So if you want to get into that, check it out. Also, I got a couple really nice course bundles in the shop too, where you can save even more. Check it out in the description down below. Okay, what is drop C sharp tuning really? It actually is an E flat standard tuning. So we have E flat, B flat, G flat, D flat, A flat. And then instead of having an E flat on the low E string, we tune that down 2 more steps and we're down at C sharp or D flat. And what this tuning basically does is it takes off the edge of that high, sparkly, trebly, wiry, telly twang just a little bit. So it's a little bit more tame in the highs and it gets a little bit more round and solid and wide in the bottom. Twang is still totally remaining in this. It still sounds like a Telecaster in contrast to other tunings we're going to talk about later, but this one just makes the guitar sound a little bit more solid, grounded, round. And that is reflected in what I play with this tuning. So for instance, if we take a chord progression here, just this C sharp major here, and we combine that with that B flat minor 7, combined with that F sharp, weird F sharp with the 11, you get a cool thing going. Listen. Super hopeful, right? Positive, reassuring. Wow, the sun just came out when I started playing that, for real. What I just experienced is exactly what these different tunings do to us as guitar players. We tune guitars differently and we start to play differently. We start to play different stuff, write different stuff. We come up with different licks, and that's why I think this tuning is worth mentioning here for Telecasters. I think it's great for southern stuff, Americana-style ballads, but also riffy stuff like, let's say, Blackstone Cherry, which kind of sounds southern but is hard rock, heavy metal kind of riffy. That is also possible with this tuning. So definitely go and try drop C sharp. Great tuning if you want to make your Telecaster sound massive. So next up, the second tuning that makes your Telecaster sound killer is drop B, the Soundgarden tuning. Totally different beast, super dark, but just as charming. Here we go. that sounds pretty different from the first tuning we discussed, right? That is because drop B is a tuning of extremes. Let me show you what I mean. Basically, we're tuned in E standard, right? So E, B, G, D, and A. And then on the low E string, we have a low B. So basically, we have a baritone tuning without the E string, if you will, and it creates that weird tension between a super almost detuned low E string. That low B here is almost bass-like sounding, and the rest of the guitar is a sparkly, trebly, bright-telly in standard E tuning. So you get these weird combinations and mixtures of low bass notes and super sparkly highs. And let me tell you, this is the charm of this tuning. Let me show you an example. So in drop B tuning, your typical power chord shapes become octaves. And that's cool because it also means we can access thirds and sevenths very, very easily. Let me show you. This would be like a B power chord. And now let's change to, let's say, a D major 7. How cool does that sound? Let's move it up to a G major 7. Super cool if you ask me. And then let's move to an A. And let's combine all these things and you get... Can you hear how that sounds like a bass and a guitar? Because you have these super low notes, these super sparkly bright notes. Just very nice. So where to use this tuning? This is a good question. I think this tuning is, you know, an acquired taste for sure, but if you use it in the right musical sphere, I think it's absolutely awesome. It's absolutely fitting wherever you want to mix darkness and brightness, because there's no way to make this sound bright and, you know, sparkly. These low notes will stay pretty dull and will sound like a bass more or less, and you have all these super sparkly things on top, and if you want to mix these two worlds into one cool riff, then this tuning is perfect for that. Also, as you could hear in the intro to this riff, it's nice for blues stuff as well, for the same reasons pretty much, because you're playing these bluesy kind of chords that I did in the beginning, and you mix them with the bass notes and you get this bluesy blues rock band kind of feel. So for these kinds of things, this tuning is perfect, but it will take some getting used to, because I mean, we're not used to playing a low B in the bottom as guitar players. But once you get familiar with it, it's really addictive because it sounds so good. Use it with a little bit of a delay like I did. You can experiment with other string gauges. I just use a regular 10 to 46 for this tuning because I like how it slightly gets out of tune. To me, that's part of the tuning. It's not a bug, it's a feature, if you will. You can try it with thicker strings, it's fine if you want more intonation, but for me, the wow it does is actually part of the charm of that tuning. If you want to go deeper on drop B, I did a dedicated video about this that you can probably click up here or up here, not quite sure, and you can go deeper and double down. Have fun. And now, our third tuning that will make your Telecaster sound unusually massive is C# standard. Very sound altering, totally transforms this guitar into something else, but nonetheless super interesting. Here you go. God, C# standard tuning. I just tuned down to it. It's such a sick tuning. For those of you who have been following me a little bit longer, or for those of you who know my side project, Shady Bell, there's a link down there in the description too. We use C# standard a lot, and I love to use it with the Telecaster because what that tuning does, in stark contrast to what it would do with a humbucker guitar, on a Telecaster specifically, C# standard transforms this guitar into something that doesn't sound like anything else I've ever heard. It makes it just not sound like a Telecaster anymore, but you can still hear that wiry single coil thing through it. It's not sounding like a Telecaster anymore, but it's just sounding so good. Now, what can we do with this tuning that we can't do with anything else? Let me show you. So for me, the most characteristic notes of a Tele that really show that you're actually playing a Tele are the ones on the G and the B string. That really always gives away the Tele vibe, that twangy... That twang thing everybody's talking about, that mainly happens for me on the G and the B string. And when you're playing in C# standard on these notes that would characteristically be typical Tele things to play, but you're playing it 3 half steps down, this is what happens. You know, it's hard to describe what that actually is, but to me it sounds like twang's ugly cousin, where you have that, you know, that wiry kind of feel of the Tele, but it doesn't sound like the characteristical twang anymore. It sounds like, you know, twang just, I don't know. It's so bendy and it's so low and it's a totally different instrument. Everything you play in that kind of tuning with the Telecaster sounds so different that it automatically sounds fresh to my ears. Take any chord progression, let's say... That just sounds so inspiring. I don't know about you guys, but to me, it's the best thing in the world, to be honest. Now, this is C# standard. What an amazing tuning this is, guys. I'm already getting inspired to write new stuff as I'm filming this video. This is how good I think these different tunings are. If you're playing a Telecaster or any other single coil style guitar, it's just awesome what these things turn into just by tuning them differently. It's, you know, it's an absolute surprise to me every time I do it. So where does this tuning shine? I think in alternative rock, prog rock, in rock in general, but also if you look at Albert King, he played C# standard and played blues. So whenever you want to play something where you don't want that classic sound, you don't want that thing that is reminiscent of, you know, classic rock records. If that's exactly what you don't want, then you get a sound that is unlike anything else. So try this tuning. It's definitely worth trying. You'll have a lot of fun doing this. And also, again, if you want to double down on this tuning, I have a dedicated video for this up here, so check it out. All right, and those have been 3 tunings that make your Telecaster sound absolutely massive. If you like that type of content, subscribe, like, click the bell icon because we do that stuff all the time. Tons of inspiration on this channel. Check out my guitar course if you want to learn my style of playing. I've been Joey. I'll see you in the